Hello, you beautiful souls. Welcome back to Stitches and Stories. It is Sunday, and I am Ashes, and I am here to chat with you all. And I'm so great to see you all. You guys are looking fantabulous. Today, we are going to be reviewing the book Untamed by Glennon Doyle. And we are going to do some finishing of knitting. Not fully knitting. Like, I've already knitted them. Knit. These are headbands that need sewed up. So we are going to finish them because yesterday I sat down and I watched basically the entire Hangover trilogy in one day just because I needed funny for the sake of funny. And so now we gotta finish these up. Otherwise they look like scarves for like little forest animals. And so we're gonna do that while we review. Alright guys? So thank you all for coming today. And as I said, we're reviewing Untamed by Glennon Doyle. There we go. This is going to be hard kind of to put on camera, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it. Alright, and we're going to take this end and fold it in half and this end and fold it in half. And then we're going to zip part of that in the middle of that one, like that. Can you tell? Make a sandwich. And then we're going to use a darling stitch. A darling stitch is similar to a whip stitch. You go in and out, okay? Is what you do. But it's not over, it's on the sides. So we're going to use a darling stitch to sew these up, is how we are going to finish these. So Untamed, did you guys read it? Did you? You should read it. It's great. It is 302 pages. It is nonfiction. The genre is self-help / memoir / women's lit. I read this for a women's lit challenge in Goodreads. I read it right after our Stay Sexy Don't Get Murdered one. I picked them both up because I wasn't sure which one I really wanted to read. Turns out it was this one, but I liked them both. I'm glad that I read them both, alright? But this one is definitely my favorite out of the two. I started April 1st, finished at April 10th. It was published in 2020. The themes are unlearning society's standards and being true to you. This one got a really good review. I kind of really needed this book. Like, insanely needed this book and didn't realize it. So, a little bit of background about this author. I think it's fitting that we talk about this in Pride Month because this author she was in a straight relationship. Look, we finished one. She was in a straight relationship and she was going around speaking at conventions. If you're a part of the church, it's kind of like women's retreat conventions almost. Like she'd go around and be an inspirational speaker, inspire women to be women for God, women who are the ideal woman, basically, is what she was doing. And so she was going around doing that. And then at one such speaking event, she ran into this woman. And she was like, oh my gosh, she's beautiful. I want to be with her. And she just like immediately fell head over heels for this girl. And she says, she only mentions it a couple times in here, but she says that she knew the moment she laid eyes on her that she was the person she was supposed to live with forever. Hopefully you're catching what I'm saying. I'm trying not to mumble. I know our camera sucks and that our microphone sucks, okay? So I'm going to try. But I'm also a little self-conscious today. And so speaking loud kind of is not, it's going to be difficult for me today. All right. So she met her, and she is immediately, of course, doesn't know what to do because she's in this relationship with a guy. She's married, she has kids. The church says it's a bad idea. And she grew up in the church. But she left her husband and married this girl, and look at that. Look how pretty this is. I love the texture on this. It's so soft. And they're married. Okay? And that's just background. So I mentioned that a few times in here, but it's not like the massive overall theme of this book. Her theme is teaching you to be who you want to be, who you were before the world told you who to be, okay? And so she uses it as a way to show that she uses her past as a way to show that you can break free from society's standards at any point in your life. You can restart at any point in your life and rediscover who you are. It talks about eating disorders. Um, it talks about how we tame ourselves. We are domesticated humans and we have domesticated ourselves. Um, Society has rules that we allow them to impart on young girls, specifically young girls. It happens to boys too, and she does mention how she's had to retrain herself how to talk to her son because she realized that she was training him, like showing him that women were the caregivers and that he deserved to be coddled. And so she had to retrain herself so that she knew, so that he wouldn't grow up thinking he had the right to be taken care of by every woman, and that was his God-given right. Basically, does any of this make sense? I'm just kind of rambling today. I've tried to record this video twice now, but we need to get it done, and I'm just having a rough week. So hopefully this makes sense to you all. She talked about how she became obsessed with polar bears. To me, when I was younger, it was dolphins. You just know everything about them. And it's like, I think it's a normal 13-year-old thing, honestly. A line that she says repeatedly that I love is, "We can do hard things." She actually has another book titled that she wrote with someone called Amanda Doyle. And I think it's her sister. She mentions her sister in here too. But it could not be. I'm not sure. So, but I do want to read that book too. But she uses that phrase a lot. She says it's what she uses for her kids too, because things are hard. And she doesn't want them to believe that you can do everything, but you can do hard things, right? Because you can't do you can do anything, but you can't do everything, is basically what she gets at. Like, you can do anything you set your mind to, anything at all, but you can't do everything at once. She says we need to dream to plan. So people who tell you to quit daydreaming, don't listen to them, because you need to dream in order to plan. You have to think of what you want your future to be like. If you don't dream about your future, how are you going to plan your future? This is a note that I made to myself regarding the book. I will not call myself broken, because you have to compare yourself to a perfect human to be broken. And there's no such thing as a perfect human. This book really talks about how humanity is not perfect. And they like to tell us from a young age that we are and that we should be, and that women should sit quietly with their hands in their lap in church, and that they should care for everyone around them, and that their needs should be put last. But that's not how it goes, okay? You should care about yourself constantly, probably above others, honestly. You should take care of yourself first, because how are you going to take care of others if you're not taken care of? It's like what they used to say in the school training that I go through. Um, in our training for disasters, they'd say you have to make sure that you are safe before you can help anyone else. Because if you are not safe, ultimately, and what's going to happen is you're going to end up with two people in a bad situation instead of just one. And so she talks about how you have to take care of yourself in order to take care of others. Question she asked a lot, which I wrote down and I have been referring back to in my life in general, is, who were you before the world told you who to be? And I know we've seen that a lot. It's all over the internet. It literally is. That quote is everywhere. Who were you before the world told you to be? Before the world told me who I was. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out. There we go. Before the world told me who I was an outgoing individual. Yeah, I know it's kind of hard to, me personally, that's kind of hard to picture, right? I was an outgoing individual. I loved dogs. I loved history. I loved walking around my little hometown of Lexington, Missouri. I loved my grandparents. I was pretty outgoing. And then the world told me I wasn't perfect. And then the world told me I didn't have an opinion. And the world told me that I had an opinion, but it didn't matter as much as white men, as much as the opinion of old white men. And so I shouldn't share my opinion. And somewhere along the way, I was convinced that I wasn't good enough. And I have been working my way through that. But who were you? Who were you before the world told you who you had to be? This is more of a spa headband than an actual headband, but it's fluffy and cute. Someone's gonna like that. It's adorable. I did a twist in the front, so they all kind of look like bows in the front. That's what I did. Reading this felt like I was at a women's retreat among women, learning about women, about how to be a woman. But instead of being told a woman needs to be proper and sit with her hands in her lap, she doesn't move her hips to the songs in church. She doesn't. She's never negative. She talks about her life positively. She is a nurturer. She's a mother. Instead of being told that, I was being told you can be whoever you want to be. You don't have to be a mom. You don't have to be a wife. You don't have to be the perfect little angel. She talks a lot about getting over religious trauma because she went through some religious trauma, and I did relate kind of to that because even though I myself personally still believe in Yahweh, I have some religious trauma. I don't go to church regularly. I don't think I ever will again. The people in a church hurt me and my family, and I don't trust the people. Okay, I get so tired and sick and tired of fake all these fake Christians out there preaching hate when the number one commandment God gave us was to love our neighbors as ourselves, love everyone. So above all, we're supposed to love people. And so what really did it for me is I was out of church and we had some siblings. And they're now siblings. They weren't at the time. We had some foster kids that moved in with us, and my sister overheard someone else say, I can't believe that they took those kids in when they're not the same race as them. And it really freaking pissed me off. Because if you know me personally or you don't know me, let me tell you this. The one thing in my life that I am super protective of is my family. Okay? I'm a relatively loyal person. It takes a lot to get me to not trust you, to get me to not like you. Heat is a surefire way to get there. But threatening my family, saying things about my family, that's 100%. That makes me want to go hood, guys. That makes me want to go back to my Grand Island roots and get into someone's face and cause a scene because they are the most important thing in my life. And so if you do something against them, it's unforgivable to me, all right? And so I had already mentally left that church before I left that church. And I have no interest in going back to a church. I grew up in a church where everyone was welcome. Grew up in a church where there was a biker gang, basically, or a biker group, club, whatever, who would come to church on Sundays and they'd park their motorcycles all out front and they'd come in with their vests and they were the nicest people in the world. They had long hair. They were great to hang around. They were so nice. And we had people from every walks of life in that church, and I adored it. Now that I'm older, I found out that there was, of course, some background stuff that was going on with, like, one of my friends when I was younger, he just stopped coming, and I didn't understand why. Now that I'm an adult, I know this whole story behind it, and every church is going to have things like that. But I don't blame him for not wanting to go back to a church because they hurt him, and the way they hurt him is it's not unforgivable. You can forgive it, but you don't, and you need to forgive, but you can't forget, okay? You don't want to let yourself be put in that situation again. And so I really related to Glennon's trauma that she had in here because she talked about how she had to leave for a while, and she doesn't go to church anymore because they didn't accept her because of what she did, and they made comments, and she was afraid of how it would affect her kids and how they viewed her, and it's people are mean. All right, and I'm so freaking tired of people just being mean and hating on everyone. I blocked 3 people the other day on my author profile on Facebook because all I did was wish my readers, I have teen readers who are part of the LGBTQ community, guys, okay? They've told me I love them. I also have adult readers who are. I love them all. I wished them a happy pride. That's all I did. And I had 3 unhinged white men come in my comments, and this, not all white men are bad, okay? But this is your stereotypical conservative old man and young man who thinks he knows everything, come in my comments and start ripping apart the gay community. They got blocked fast. They got deleted fast. I'm not here for that hate. Okay, we live in a world where there's so much freaking hate already. We should be spreading positivity. You can have differences of opinions and not hate your neighbor. Okay? My neighbor across the alley, he doesn't, I don't like him. He doesn't like our dog. But guess what? I don't hate him. If something happened, I'd still help him. Alright? And I'm pretty sure that if something happened, he'd still help us. Because we're human. And we live in a community together. And we can have different ideas and different thoughts and different opinions and different likes and different dislikes and still get along. And if you care, did you pass kindergarten? The basic thing taught in kindergarten is freaking human kindness. Sorry, guys. So anyway, this book covers that, talks about it a little bit, and so, don't hate people. I started rambling. I'm sorry. Back to the book. What did you think of the book? What will you take away from it? I love this book, and I related to it. That's what we were just talking about. I learned to exist as an expert in my own existence. I honestly don't know if that quote came from this book or from Stay Sexy, Get Murdered. I read them both back to back, and one of them had the quote, we are only experts in our own existence, and I love the quote, and I wrote it down, but I didn't write which book it came from, and so I'm a little irritated about that, but it's hanging on my wall. You can't see it, but it's over here. And, we're only experts in our own existence. You can give advice to other people, but you don't know ultimately what they're going through. You're not living in their body, alright? We're all just human souls trying to make it out of this alive, this man life. Obviously, we don't make it out alive, but we live in a mortal body with an immortal soul, and our mortal bodies come with challenges. And you don't know what challenges other people have, okay? You don't know what it's like to live in someone else's skin, someone else's shell, and so you should be kind to them. What was the aim of this book, and how well did the author fulfill it? To empower women to live their truth. Would you recommend this book to others? Who's the target audience? Yes, target audience is adult women, but I really think teen girls would benefit from this. Teen guys could read it, but I don't think men would relate to it as much as women, just because she talks about the pressure of society, specifically on women, and how we are supposed to be perfect, have the perfect weight, the perfect house, the perfect family, that kind of thing. But, I mean, if you're a guy and you want to read it, okay? It is more of a feminist book, so beware of that going in. 1-sentence book review. This is a call to action for an internal battle. It got a 5-star rating all across the board, guys. I enjoyed this book, so that was 5 stars. Writing was superb, that was 5 stars. The plot was impeccable, alright? Plots in memoirs and self-help books are more linear. And so what you're supposed to, I'm trying to keep my head tilted up so you don't see the glare from the computer. But, when you write a book, when you write fiction, you're crafting a story, right? When you write nonfiction, you have your facts and you have to put them in a good order. Glennon did that way better than our last authors did in Stay Sexy, Don't Get Murdered. You remember how I mentioned that they would be like in chapter 3 and they'd be like, see chapter 8 for a description of this. And then you have to skip so many chapters to figure out what it is. She didn't do that. You can tell she took her time and laid out where she wanted everything to go. So you had all your information regarding everything she was talking about the first time she talked about it. So I thought that was great. So 5 stars in plot. 5 stars in characters. They're all living human beings. You can't be like, oh, you're a 1-star human being. I mean, could. It might be a funny way to adjust Karens. But that's 5-star characters. 5-star readability, 5-star setting. So 5-star all across the board. And that is Untamed. Our next book that we will be reviewing is Death in the Clouds by Agatha Christie. And then after that will be Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. So I'm going to link those below in case you guys want to pick them up and read them. I highly recommend you do. I want this to be a great way for us to just chat about books and what we like about them and our own human experiences and just hang out together. And so if you read the book, you can always come on here. Tell me your opinion. Tell me your opinion even if you don't read the book about what I say, alright? No hate comments, obviously. I block people for that. I keep safe pages. Just be civil and you won't have any problems, alright? Don't act like you're a preschooler with anger issues, basically. Alright? Some house cleaning before I forget. In my reader group on Facebook, I am hosting a Summerween book party. I kind of took a year off from book parties. My shirt is driving me nuts. Why is it not centered? Goodness gracious, I was like, I'm gonna wear a tank top today. Doesn't matter if they see my bra straps. A girl, at least it means that they know I'm wearing one, right? It's driving me nuts. It's driving me crazy. But I took a year off from book parties last year. I only did our Advent one, because I had authors come out and be like, hey, are we doing this? And after like 10 authors were like, hey, are we doing this? Because I love this event. I was like, yeah, we should probably do that. But all the others had been canceled the year. So this year I'm bringing them back. I'm going full force back into my author career. I'm about to put out my next Tales from Marzania book. I'm excited about that. That's my favorite series I've ever written. It's like twice as long as all the other books too, guys, because I took a step back. I'm a novel and series writer naturally, but I switched to novellas because people were wanting smaller books. But I felt like it really ended up hurting my actual writing style, and that I don't write the way I want to anymore. I'm not using as flowery language. My settings and stuff aren't as good. I don't think my descriptions are as good. So I'm working on getting back to my original writing style, which is very flowy, very flowery, very not super wordy, but descriptive. Okay, and so I'm trying to get back into that. And so I put a lot more description into this Tales from Marzania book, which I should have been doing all along, because this is my world. This is the world that I crafted from the ground up. I know everything about this world, every inch of it. I have a map of this world, okay? And so I'm trying to get back into that. So this book is like double the length of the other ones. But I have a novel written for this series too that I eventually want to get out. And so I just want to get back into that stuff. And so that's going to be releasing soon. And then hopefully, it will. In September, I'll have a book releasing in an anthology that's a twisted fairy tale. And so in order to get my author name out there, I need to get parties and stuff going in my reader group. And so we're hosting Summerween book party, which is the third biggest event that I host in my readers group. I will link it down below. It's June 28th. It's all day. There are 19 authors, 600 plus readers, and everyone's just going to hang out. There'll be some giveaways. Every author has a half-hour time slot that they can come and talk about their books. You'll find new authors. If you're an author, you'll find new readers. If you're an author and you want in, message me, because I can give you the link to sign up. I do require that you join the group and that you add me as a friend, my personal account as a friend. I will tell you what that is if you sign up, because then I can reach out to you and we can talk, okay? I want to make sure that we're all on the same page, and I'll create a group chat for everyone closer to time. And then, so I'd love to have y'all come to that. And then later in the year, we'll have another event. We'll have Haunted Hollows. We'll have that in October. But Summerween is a big one I like to do because I'm a fantasy author. Fantasy tends to go with Halloween. I love Halloween. So many authors do Christmas in July. I thought we needed something like Summerween, and I've seen other people do this kind of thing. And so I did it, I think it was 2 years ago I had started it. So this is only the second one we've done. But people seem to like it, and it's a great way for those of us who write fantasy, horror, vampires, monsters, shifters to still be seen in the middle of the year, even though it's not the season where we sell more books in fall, obviously, because that's when people are like, oh, October, I want to be scared. Ooh, October, I want magic and mischief. Okay, but we do have books that take place all year round. All right, it's the same way as Christmas writers write Christmas romances. They sell more in November. We all have our sell dates. This just helps us get seen more. And there are going to be authors who are not from those genres. I have it. I took away all the. I had restrictions on my group because I was primarily a YA author, but I have advanced out and I now have an adult book too, and so my group is now going to be open to all ages, all genres, and so there are authors from all ages and all genres in this book. We have a author who is hoping to attend. I have not heard for sure, but he's hoping to attend, and he is a second grader. Isn't that awesome? And then we have an author who writes steamy romance books. So you get both sides of the spectrum in this group. So I'm going to link the party down below, and I hope you guys all join us for that. Also, check out our book fairy post in there because we do giveaways every month. And in order to get entered into our blind date with the book giveaway, you have to comment on the fairy post with your wishes. So thank you guys for being here, and I will see you all next Sunday with Death in the Clouds by Agatha Christie. Bye.